Our story opens with the scene of a handsome dash boy running to school. He passed the gate and was a little relaxed. This boy is Seal Phantom Hive, who joined Weston School. This is a very distinguished public school in England, and this is a very famous and expensive school. The elite class families bring their boys to this school to learn rules and regulations. He is a little nervous because this is his first day in school, and the school has a very strict discipline and follows all the rules according to tradition. So, he was worried, but he relaxed and moved into the school. He steps onto the lawn, and everyone is looking at him with a very serious face. They all are worried about him. He cannot understand what happened. He is just moving into the school. At the same time, the group of 4 boys, which is called Perfect 4, come there. One of them moves toward him and tightens his tie. They warn him to be careful, as this is against the rule to move in the lawn, as only the Perfect 4 and the students with their permission are allowed to move in it. He apologized and they are okay with it. They left, and after this, a boy came to him. This boy is very friendly and wants to be friends with him. His name is Macmillan. He is a first-year student in this blue house. He is in his class. Our boy asked about P4 and Y. He told him that the Y is the unit of punishment. P4 is the group of 4 people he met before. These 4 people are organized by their colored waistcoats, and only they are allowed to choose the fabric of it, no other students. He introduced every member of it to him. The first one with a red waistcoat is Edgar Redmond. He is the perfect scarlet fox house where students of exceptionally high birth gather. The second one is Lawrence with a blue waistcoat. He is the perfect sapphire owl house where students who excel academically gather. The third one is Herman Greenhill with a green waistcoat. He is the perfect green lion house where a student excels at material art and sports. The last one is Gregory Violet with a purple waistcoat. He is the perfect violent wolf house where students who excel in arts gather. He gives information to him. Our boy understands all this, but still, he is worried about the incident that happened before. The bell rings and they run to the class because they do not want to be late. In the class, one boy told him to clean up his shoes and come to a sapphire owl house. They are throwing a welcome party for him, but as he enters the room, they start tossing him. He is so worried about all this, like what happened to him. He failed to understand all this. At the same time, the housemaster Michaelis comes there and stops them. He helps him to stand up and apologizes for all the trouble he has. He is happy about it and tells him to come to the office. Now in the office, P4 people are there. Our boy meets with Johann Agars, who is the lower master. He told him that this school was not a joke. This public school has too many regulations and rules, and they are very strict about them. And if he has to survive in this school, he has to follow all of them. Otherwise, there is another way for him to leave it. They mention they will never compromise on their tradition because tradition is absolute. He told him if he agreed, then sign it. He came there but fell. He stands up and our boy signs it. He handshake with him and welcomes him to school. Our boy is worried about this as it seems like a contract and like he is working in a multinational company, as he is not studying in a school. They are going when our boy asks them if he can meet with the headmaster, but they refuse and mention that only the Perfect 4 are going to meet with him, not ordinary students. Our boy understands all this, and now he is living in this public school. In school, they have to do everything according to tradition. The bells are ranked, and they wake up and do all the work according to the timetable and bells. They are having their breakfast. When again our boy comes to know about some tradition, like they have to serve a senior boy as doing his work. Our boy also comes to know about the drudges as they are living with the perfects. They are brother-like with them. These have many advantages as they can join perfectly with the midnight tea parties held by the headmaster, and many more things. Our boy thought if he could attend this tea party he was going to meet with the master, but the problem was they were making the guest list and their drudge made things a bit tricky. Our boy has decided to do something with it. He changed the topic and asked him if he knew about Derek Arden. At this, everyone is looking at him. He cannot understand this. So his friend tells him this is because they do not like the boys who get familiar and friendly with people in other houses. He told him that he just knew that this boy was going to transfer to the purple house on the order of the headmaster. They were talking when he left because his senior was coming. Our boy is thinking about it when he orders to clean the dining hall. He uses some powers and Michaelis appears there. Michaelis do everything. He gave him all the information about Derek. Our boy understood this and told him to clean up the dining hall as this was his task. He left. Now he watches the violet-purple house and finds it very scary. He is moving in it when suddenly the boys appear there. They called him an outsider and told him to go back. They throw a stone at him, and he runs away. He cannot understand what happened. The head of the house also informs us about this. Our boy reached back and thought about how he is able to get information about the school as he is just an ordinary student. He thought he had to take advantage of Perfect 4, but did not know how. After this, Michaelis called him and appreciated his work, as he cleaned the room so beautifully. This is very impressive. Clayton also joined them and praised his work. He thought this person was going to benefit him, so he has to make a good connection with him. He mentions housework is his specialty, and if they need him, they will call him, he will approach them. At night, our boy reads the letter and remembers that he came there because of the reason. His cousin Derek cannot come to meet his parents from last summer, and also his letters have not been received. He is in 5th year there, but now there is no response from him to them. The thing is also noticed that many other students stopped returning to their houses, but no one knew what the reason was. He is even one who wants to find it, like, if this is going to happen, the troubles are getting big as the poor families are going to lose their sons. He was also worried because this public school is not under the control of any government. This is an independent school. He also received a letter from Victoria, who is a relative of the school, but also told him to do something for these students who are disappearing. Our boy thought this girl knew everything, but still did not reveal anything because she didn't want to risk exposing her family's secret in front of everyone. This is the real trouble of humans. But he decided to do this. Michaelis also agrees with him and mentions he will be able to know the reason and solve this mystery. Michaelis is helping our boy a lot with his work. He has too much work as he is an educator and teaches all the students all the time. He gives his most of time to students. But still, he does work for our boy. He managed all his work. Everyone is so impressed by him, even his friend. His friend told him that he was getting too popular in all the houses because of his work, as he did all this very fastly. He asks how he does even though he is spending too much time on this work. He simply mentions this is because doing housework is his hobby. There is nothing more. His friend told him Clayton wanted him to be his drudges. On the other hand, P4 also talks about him. They all thought this new boy did too much work, and he was very impressive. They discuss how he does all the work, but still, he is very refreshing and there is nothing wrong with him. Even though he does everything so perfectly, the work done never gets any complaints. They discuss there is something with this boy, but they do not know anything correctly. The master of the Purple House told them everything was okay, but why did this boy come to his house? This is a disturbing thing. Like what work he has to do there. They are a little disturbed by this. They thought this boy had too much workload, and during the time of work, it was impossible for him to come to his house. He mentions this happened, but they do not know how. Edward comes there and asks for permission. They allowed him, and he told them they were talking about the new student who is his basic cousin, and they are family. He mentions this boy is very impressive as he does everything perfectly, and he also respects him. He mentions they were together when the Campania sank. Redmond found it interesting and decided to call him to meet them. But they all mention that calling a first-year student to meet them makes him nervous. But they all decided to meet because they wanted to see his work, and also, they wanted to taste his delicious cake and tea that is famous everywhere. Everyone agrees to it and decides to call him. They are very curious and want to meet him and wait for him. They call him tomorrow at 2 o'clock. The next day, one boy informs our boy that Cole wants to talk to him. They all are shocked to hear this. Our boy asks who is Cole. They replied Cole was the drudge of Redmond, and this was the first time he was called to talk with anyone. They all are very excited because he is the prettiest boy there, and everyone wants to talk at least once with him. Our boy is okay with it and goes to meet him. They both introduce each other. He informed him that the P4 group wanted to talk with him because he was getting too famous in the school and invited him to come at 4 o'clock to the Swan Gazebo. Our boy is happy about it and gives a side smile. Everyone gathers around him and wants to be friends with him because he is not a simple boy. At night, Michaelis teaches a student who is weak in study. After this, our boy also came to him. Michaelis welcomes him and removes his coat. He prepares tea for him, and our boy informs him of tomorrow's meeting with P4. He orders him to make tea with sweets in a perfect way for them for tomorrow. He agreed and served his tea. At the same time, another student comes, and they are behaving like teacher and student. Our boy smiled and left. The next day our boy is going to meet them, but they shout at him because he is 2 hours late. He cannot understand this. He mentions he is informed to come at 4 o'clock. Cole cannot agree with this. He comes to know this is a trick. His cousin Edward was also angry about it as he hurt their expectations. He comes back and feels very bad. He just hates these types of people. He is getting panicky, but Michaelis relaxes him and mentions he is just underestimating his opponent, so never do this again. This meeting will be a lesson for him. Our boy agreed with him and mentioned that his dreams and goals were not going to stop. He will take favor from P4 and also take revenge from Cole, who did so badly with him. He mentioned that he totally recognized that he always told lies and also betrayed his seniors, as his hand is so shiny and classy, but the people who do work for their seniors have their hands rough. That means he is using some other method for all of these things. So, he orders him to investigate all this and come to know what he is using. Next day, everyone is talking about him and his meeting with Perfects, which is canceled in a very bad way. On the other hand, Cole decides to use the new student as his own drudge. Michaelis listens to all this and comes to know this is how this boy manages everything. He makes them do all the work by themselves and get credit. He daily represents the complicated dishes to impress Redmond and do many other things for him. Michaelis saw all this. After this, he is going to help a student who is trying to find a book in the library. This boy is a haracoat who is fond of reading. He helps him and asks why he is so troubled. He cries and mentions this is all because of Cole, as he invited him to the meeting, but he did not receive an invitation. But then on the day of the meeting, the invitation was on his desk and everyone started blaming him. Now they do not believe in him and tease him. That's a thing from which he served these days. He relaxes him and mentions he is not lying. He believes in him. At night, he informs all this to our boys and mentions Cole is a bad boy as he targets many young students and does all his work for them. Our boy understands all this and mentions they need someone who is going to take admitted in this school and then join the Red House and get all the information. In that way, they are going to get some benefits. But no one will do all this, as taking admission to this popular school is difficult. Michaelis mentions there is someone. Our boy gets in trouble because he does not want this. But this is the last option. At night, our boy is sleeping when his friend comes to him and apologizes and asks what will happen with the meeting. He replies that this cannot happen because he has informed the wrong time, but he mentions they all know the time is 4 o'clock. He told him to not worry, they were with him, and they would tell everyone. Our boy agrees with it. The next day, one boy on elephant with several servants comes to their school. This boy is named Katter, and he is from a wealthy family in India. This boy asked our boy why he called him and talked with him loudly in public. Our boy gets mad at this because he writes clearly in the letter to not show they both know each other. Our boy cannot listen to him and ignore him and start walking, but the elephant takes him in front of him. Our boy controls himself and talks with him. He mentioned he called him for some reason. He told him he had a bad relationship with the senior of the Red House, Cole, and he wanted to know much about him, so he needed his help. He agreed to this and told him to not be worried. Our boys advise him to take it a secret and not tell anyone, just do observation and inform him. They both make promises by touching their fingers. Now he is asking Cole to become his friend. He is following him everywhere and ask for friendship. Even to not talk properly, just say to become friends. He does not leave anywhere alone. Cole is fed up with all this. In the night, he again sits on his elephant and goes to find him. He finds him in a building and enters inside with the elephant. Cole gets panicky about this, and after this, they both have to apologize to Redmond. Redmond is okay with it, but mentions there is a problem now where Cole is going to leave because his room is damaged and there is no other room left. Katter invites him to come to his room. He does not want this, but Redmond ordered it. Katter showed him his room and allowed him to sleep on the bed. In the middle of the night, he is sleeping and Cole leaves the room. He starts following him. He watches him do something in the post room and cannot understand this. The next, he is going to meet our boy and inform him about everything. He told him that Cole was writing the letter and cards to new students, but he does not know what the reason was. Our boy understood this and thanked him, and he left. Our boy decided to make a plan. After this, our boy called Cole into a room and told him he knew he did all this on that day, according to his wish. He advises him to forget this, and this is all his mistakes, so stop blaming others. Our boy mentioned this is true, and his classmates also agreed with it even though 18 people were with him. He also mentions he know everything about him. As this is so wrong to tell a lie, he makes other lives hell. He gives the example of a haricote. He also mentioned he knew everything that he did to show his skills are amazing, but he made others do work. Cole refuses to believe this and mentions this is all lie. Our boy smiled at it and showed him the cards and mentioned now this is true because these are the cards he used for others to invite and do work. Cole is disturbed by this because he cannot imagine this going to happen. Our boy shows him the numbers of cards with his writing and times and dates. He is traumatized by this. Our boy mentioned he did a lot of hard work and got all these cards from the garbage. Our boy told him no what would do with him as he was doing very bad things. He tells lies and even makes his brother blind trust in him. Our boy told him he was going to tell all this to Redmond. He laughs at it and the door opens and many boys come. He takes all the cards and letters. He warns him to stop all this otherwise they will be trouble for him. He mentions using others is also skilled and he does work on this. He mentions that he is the prettiest boy in the school and everyone wants relation with him, so there is nothing wrong with using them. He mentioned making popular in this school made his life paradise, so why does he struggle for everything when he gets it so simply? He mentions that he is the young son of the family and cannot get anything, but this school will give him everything he wants. So, it is better to stop interference in his life. He took scissors and opened his shirt. He told his partner to take a picture of him. At the same time, P4 comes there. Cole is traumatized by this. Our boy mentions this all happened because of him as he transports his voice to them. He showed the network he made. They are mad at this. Redmond feels very bad and breaks his relationship with him. He cries about this. Our boy gave him a tissue and mentioned to be the and show himself truly to people. And in that, everything is going to be smooth. He agreed, so our boy gave him the card and mentioned that he showed his true face to everyone. Without makeup, he feels ashamed of this. Our boy appreciated his makeup skill and left. All the group 4 liked his work and told him best. Our boy now becomes the drudges. He is finally getting his first goal. Now he is waiting for others. So, comment what will happen next. Do you like this story? Please subscribe to our channel for the next part.